Recording?
This meeting is being recorded. Got it.
Okay. So, hey.
Hi, Leah.
So
Good
now,
to see you as always.
yes, likewise. It's always so nice to talk to you.
Always.
Um, I'm really excited about this, and I think quite a few people are as well. I mean, to put things in context, I met you about virtually met you, but I guess
Yes.
that means meeting you because in today's world, virtually meeting someone is meeting them. About what, 7, 8 months ago?
Yeah. I feel like I've known you for years. So it's weird to think it's 7, 8 months, but I think so. And like you said, now because of our the technology, I feel like we've been hanging out, having coffee, like with together, not, you know, thousands of miles apart. So I'm so happy for this opportunity to let people see us sort of be crazy together. And, so we figure a lot out that way. So I think you had it right. Like, let's just be us and see what happens.
So everyone, Alia and I talk on the phone for hours, and we decided to do this and be as natural as possible and pretend that this conversation is not recorded and be ourselves so that you can see what we talk about, how we interact, and basically how it is to have a friend, because she's become a real friend
Thank
who can know exactly how I feel and who has guided me through so much, because Elias had been diagnosed 8 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 9.
9. And I've only been diagnosed 2. And she's been tremendous help because we have similar journeys in terms of treatments. And I guess we can start with, the basics. So what do you want to tackle first? What should we talk about? Usually we talk about everything, but what do you want to talk
We talk
about?
about, yeah, we could talk about the moon and the stars and everything in between. So I think the best thing to start with is I'm gonna look at you and not the camera. So Leia is the social media savvy person I wish I had inside me. So I'm not. Um, my lighting's worse. She'll help me. I'll get better. But so why we connected, and I think that why it was so important for us to have this friendship is something to address because it seems easy enough. Okay, these are two gals of, the same similar age group and they've got a lot in common. They have a million and one disease. It's easy to say to sort of just, yeah, okay, sure. That's natural. But I think that the reason that it's not only it was natural because of all those reasons, but it's important because of much, much deeper reasons. And I think that for me, it was, um, and I'm a psychiatrist by trade, so I always think of support groups. All I want to do is get my patients into groups so that they have a support system. And it sounds super cheesy, and I hate the word support and the term support system. But it to have somebody that I can say a weird thing like, I'm doing X, Y, and Z to my back because yesterday I talked too long and did too much work. And that's it. No explanation needed beyond why I can't move today. Why today I feel like I got hit by 6 cars in the morning instead of 4. So, and I don't have to say it. And it it's not only extremely validating and all those things that support is, but it's also cool and fun and it makes light of some really serious things that we grapple with. So I think that you've enabled me and I lucked out. I mean, Leia is hilarious, smart, everything you could want in a friend. So it was easy with her to connect and easy always to talk. So I think that that's what I would say is that like the network itself reaching out and actually having an SPS buddy. We have a mutual friend who has guided us, a retired physician that has now devoted himself wholly to the cause. And I think that his admiring us as, like, oh, I like that the two of you are hanging out. my mother, who's a very brilliant woman and my advocate, has said, "I love when you and Leia are talking," and um, our doctor loves. So I feel like if okay, these people are liking sort of what's happening, maybe that's because of your platform, because of my training. Maybe it is something that we should do. And for me, I've been notoriously camera shy, photo shy, anything shy. So Leia's brought me out of my shell for the first time. Um, so thank you for that too, for making me, um, I think, brave enough to be vulnerable, honest about being a doc with a disease. I grappled with it for a decade almost. So you just kind of pushed me over the hump. Like, it's no big deal. You can be both. Like, we're cool, we work, we're sick, we deal, and it just really helped me. So I mean, I think that support system sounds, it's something that we just, it's said so much these days, terms like mindfulness support, that it's easy to just sweep it under the rug, but it is going to be the crux, I think, to anybody's like getting through a very difficult disease, any difficult chronic disease, especially ones that involve an immense amount of pain, like ours does, physical, debilitating pain.
Wow. Uh, you've complimented me in so many ways. I'm like, thank you. I feel really close to you, and I felt the connection immediately. For me, of course, we share the same disease, but it's also we're both women, we're both around the same age, we're both, you know, we liked our careers. I mean, I know we're in different paths of our career path, but we share that as well. And I guess we'll talk about that in a
Hmm.
different video.
Hmm.
But it was also having someone my own age almost, guiding me. And now I'm kind of on the same treatments as you. And it was so nice to have a friend telling me about everything that was going to happen to me instead of just having a doctor telling me.
Hmm.
So I know people want to hear about details, and we'll get to that because I think we're going to do many videos. But as a start, I mean, it's incredible to have to be, I consider myself so lucky to have my SPS friend who's become my friend. I don't like using my SPS friend,
No.
but who you've guided me through everything better than anyone else has. You've prepared me for everything that is to come. You help me whenever I get a new treatment, tell me like what to expect, what to do. You tell me the truth. A lot of doctors like to, are quite technical and will tell you, oh, you'll be fine in 24 hours and
Mm.
things. And that's not true. And you'll be like, no, Leah, you'll need 10 days to be better and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And that for me is, I feel really blessed. And aside from the fact, and actually not aside from the fact, on top of the fact that we actually get on. Like the disease comes in our conversation, we share our
Yeah.
story, we talk about our treatments, which we will share with everyone. I know everyone
Hmm.
wants us to focus on SPS,
Hmm.
but first, let's focus on the human side of things. We get on. We've developed a friendship, which is beautiful, and which means a lot to me. And I know my husband values it a lot, and he knows.
Mine too.
Like when I speak to Ilea, he leaves me completely alone. And my mom knows about you, and my dad knows about you. Everyone knows about you. And so I guess to everyone that's watching us today, that's the beauty of our friendship. It's a real friendship.
Hmm.
It has a real meaning for both of us, and we've helped each other in so many ways. Um, if we had one thing to talk about today related to SPS, what do you want to talk about that
I
we
would
share?
say, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, that we share. Would it be a treatment? Would it be
Hmm.
something that's affected our life? What do you want to talk about today as part one?
I would say I'm so biased. because because I'm in the trained in the mental health space. That's where my mind goes. But you've helped me because you've improved my mental health. Psychiatrists are commonly given referred patients with chronic diseases because you have to have usually we say you have to have a psychiatrist on the team of a patient who has a chronic disease and especially a pain disease. And often psych meds are even given to treat pain, antidepressants, SSRIs. So I'd say that maybe we talk a little bit about mental health things because I know that the depression and the anxiety that grips the sick patient, and there's lots of sick patients that I know depend on your channel, of all autoimmune diseases and etc. But of SPS in particular, you know, what tricks and tips mentally do we use to overcome the daily anxieties and depressions that come along with having falls that you can't control that suddenly splatter on your face, broken bones, dislocated joints, all that gruesome stuff we deal with. But how do we compartmentalize it? Leia amazed me. I'm talking to everybody. Leia amazed me the other day when she said, we both get a treatment called plasmapheresis, and she said, I hope that's okay to say in our non-treatment episode, but we get it, and it's in the dialysis unit. It's all your blood going out. It's something happening to it, and then some of it coming back in. It's a big deal. But the way that we're war buddies, we're tough, we're so tough that she says, and at least it's only Plex, so then we'll schedule I ran with it, and then I said, do you realize she called Plex a non-invasive light treatment? And it really, I mean, at the time I just cracked up, but then, in retrospect, I was like, wow, that's tough. That's toughness. So I know that, you inspire me to be tough because you handle things so well. And, like I said before, you inspire me to be vulnerable. But you also inspire me to keep going like that, like rocking on and doing these, you know, treatments that a lot of people are afraid of, and rightly so. They have, lots of risks. A lot of treatments for rare diseases will be very risky. That's inherent. And because a lot of them are, trials or the best we got or whatever. But I think that so mental health wise, you've helped me be vulnerable and you've helped me be tough. And as a psychiatrist, I don't know if anyone could have paid me enough to do that for me. And so, I think I'd want to know, like, mental health wise, what have I helped you with since it's such a big part of this disease? Physical is everything, but physical feeds back on the mind.
Well, you say strength, that I've inspired you with strength, but it's you that has inspired me with strength. It's you by talking to me about your experience, by sharing your story of the last 9 years, by telling me the truth, by answering all the questions I had that doctors wouldn't answer, not because they didn't want to, but maybe they didn't have the time or,
Yeah.
focus on other things. But I have to admit here today, and again, guys, please don't take this as medical advice. We're just having a heart to heart conversation. But
Mhm.
when I was about to get, something for plasmapheresis, and my doctors here in Lebanon were skeptical about a port because of my type 1 diabetes. So they suggested an AV fistula. You're the one who made me feel okay about getting it. No one else. It's not the doctors. It's not my neurologist. It's not my nephrologist that, takes care of my plasmapheresis treatment. It's you by telling me, Leia, don't worry. Actually, it'll help you. It'll make you feel better.
Mm.
Uh, it'll be easier. And you gave me strength because I was shit scared to get that operation. And
It's
and
scary.
but it wasn't. Once I talked to you, it wasn't.
Right.
And I'm so blessed to have someone to exchange all these these thoughts with, because I have a really good support system, and they're amazing, and they're there for me, and they help me, and I couldn't do
Mhm.
it without them. But who was going to tell me about an AV fistula? None of them. And
This,
you told me the truth and you described it as it is. So when you talk about strength and you talk about mental health and stuff, right back at you, because
thank
you give me the strength to, you show me that it can be done. You show me that, there's hope, that, we can reach some kind of stability, and that 9 years down the line, as much as you don't see yourself as being positive or as being strong, you're a fucking warrior. Sorry, I shouldn't have used that language
you.
on
I love
Instagram,
you.
but like, that's how I feel about you. And I think that's beautiful. And I'm
Thanks.
really, really, really lucky to have you in my life.
Thank you.
And you've been such a strong support system psychologically for me as well, and much better than any therapist could have been, because I've tried a few therapists and it's very difficult, I found anyway, with the therapist, because they the therapist that I've seen, they try to fix you as a whole, but
Yes.
you're coming to them telling them, I'm losing my mobility slowly, slowly. This is
Hmm.
what I want to deal with. I don't
Hmm.
want to deal with, other problems I may
Other
have.
problem. Hmm.
And with you, I've found that I can talk freely about that, and you understand that. And
Hmm.
that's so important, because I can't ask someone who's not going through the same thing to really fully understand what I'm going through. It would be unfair.
Mm-mm.
And um, even if they have the best intentions. And in you, not only did I find a friend and someone that makes me laugh, but I found someone who understood me. And that's, you know, there's no words to describe that.
I I feel, just touched, blessed. We we talk a lot about gratitude, and I think that that's a message, a mental health tip for all of our fellow SPS sufferers or acute muscular people who are on the journey of diagnosis, that there is hope and that you'll find friends and that you're not alone. Because if we're like talking like this, you're not alone. And we've talked a lot about, we've big upped each other. And, I'm sure that's maybe a little boring to some people, but it's actually, it's really important because if we're already your friends, anybody who's watching who needs a little guidance, help, tips, just a counterpoint, anything, just to hear two people talking. It it's important that, you know, we've each had tough days, so we've been communicating, should we do this and that? And I don't have to worry that Leia's gonna think that I'm flaky, which is my nightmare. My whole life I worked towards not being that way professionally, and then suddenly you get a disease that suddenly one day you can't walk, can't get out of bed. So if you made an appointment, can't get there. And so it just makes you inherently maybe flaky, and not having to feel that way is such a relief that it actually makes me less flaky. It'll make, because this morning I felt bad enough. We have a huge time difference we're contending with here, so we're doing pretty good, I'd say. But I'd say that, if I didn't have that extra push from you, it was a day I could have said, phoned it in, like, no, it's an SPS day. Like, I'm going to surrender to this and just rest. And instead, I was like, no, it's the 25th. Today's the day Lay is with posting the video. Hope it's okay if I say that. And but we're doing it. And so I think there's only so much fight in a person that deals with pain on a daily basis, chronic, from day to night, 24/7. You have to keep pulling from different places. So the more places you can pull from, the better. So having us, your SPS sisters out there, we're your two sisters. And but yeah, like, so I'd say, like, via the internet and technology, like, you have a support system, even if you're somewhere where you're all alone, where your doctors have only told you that you're crazy as yet. We've all been there. But even if you're at that horrible dark place, you have allies now in the community, and more, thank goodness, is happening right now for SPS in terms of research and awareness. And in part, a large part, because of Leia and her amazing efforts, valiant efforts in the worst situations for a person with stiff person syndrome, like the airport and the hospital. And she gets on her Insta and she tells us what she's feeling, and it always makes me feel better. And I'm not feeding off your pain. I'm not delighting in it, but it's like calm. She's my comrade and arm. We just feel so like, yeah, you know what? She could do it. She can take a flight. I could take a flight. I might not take a flight with a stop. I might do a nonstop only short, but I know my limits. I'm learning my limits every year. They get much more defined, and that's helping me. And you've swooped in and helped me do that. And actually, by helping me define my limits, you've expanded my horizons, such as doing something like this to promote awareness and healthy attitudes and hope towards chronic diseases, and especially chronic pain, neurological diseases, which are a special breed of painful conditions